An ordinary student dreamed of becoming a blade or saber member to fight the enemies who were disturbing the peace. These blades and sabers protected the civilians from the creatures called disaster. One day, Ni had a dream about a tragedy, which was the incident happened when he was young. It was when a disaster attacked their place which caused great damage to the area. But he suddenly woke up and immediately got ready, because he was going to be late for his class. His father was the only one left to take care of him, but he was always at work, and it seemed he lived alone in their house. When he got to school, his classmate named Hoki showed him the newly released game called Blade and Saber. He immediately grabbed Hoki's toy to try and play the Blade and Saber. Suddenly, someone grabbed Hoki's toy and it turned out to be their classmate, named Cass, who told them to go into their room. Ni followed her command immediately, but after a while, he bumped into the new transferred student, named Modis. She was with the caretaker, named Vincent, and the police officer, named Kraken. They were surprised when the alarm suddenly rang, indicating that a disaster had appeared nearby. Since Ni wanted to see it up close, he ran to the rooftop. When he came there, he was amazed at the disaster, while Cass and Hiko were afraid of it. The disaster noticed them and immediately targeted them. Fortunately, there was a photon barrier surrounding the entire school that protected the students. A few moments later, the sabers also arrived there. The group of snipers attacked first, and it was followed immediately by the other members. They quickly defeated the disaster, and this made Ni even more excited to be like them. When they entered their classroom, their class discussion was about to start. Modis was also there because she was assigned to their section. When Modi sat down, she felt uncomfortable when she noticed that Ni was staring at her. Their teacher, Miss Lu, approached Ni to punish him for being late in class. In the afternoon, when Ni and Cass were on their way home, Cass approached the two cats to take a picture of them. Ni saw Modis and approached her to ask if she was on her way home too. After a while, Cass came and was surprised when she heard that Modis asked Ni to go on a date. She quickly ran away, and Ni noticed that she left her cell phone behind. Modis immediately took back what she had said and left Ni. So Ni picked up Cass' cell phone and chased after her. After he gave it to her, Cass remembered the days when Ni would always defend her from her bullies. Suddenly, a disaster appeared that immediately attacked them. It was a Skora disaster, and Ni wondered how it got in there even though the school had a photon barrier. When they entered the locker room, Ni took the axe and told Cass that she needed to escape, and informed the others that there was a disaster in the school. He attacked the disaster to give Cass a chance to run. The disaster tried to attack Cass, but Ni was able to block it. He continued to fight the creature until he was able to hit it with his axe. But the disaster punched him because his attack did not work. As it was about to attack him, someone suddenly attacked the disaster and it was done by a blade. The disaster tried to retaliate, but he was easily countered by its opponent. The blade who saved him approached him and gave a healing item. The disaster suddenly attacked, causing the blade's helmet to come off, and Ni found out that it was Modi's. When the disaster struck again, it managed to get rid of Modi's sword and stab her in the stomach. Before the enemy could attack again, Ni quickly took Modi's sword and got ahead to hit the enemy. Then he returned the healing item to Modi's so that she could heal her wounds. When Modis was healed, she warned Ni not to tell others that she was a blade. Kraken suddenly came there when Cass asked him for help. When he saw Modis' torn suit, he immediately blamed Ni for causing the trouble and hurting Modis. It was here that Modis took the opportunity to put Ni to sleep and left him to Kraken's care. A few moments later, Cass also came and they took Ni to her house. While Ni was unconscious, he dreamed of his mother, but she suddenly disappeared. Then he saw a disaster, so he suddenly woke up. He found out that Cass also fell asleep near him, and when she woke up, they discussed what happened at school. Cass thought that Kraken was the one who defeated the disaster, and this was when Ni remembered Modis' warning to him, so he just let her believe that. Cass also informed him that she thought Modis liked Ni, but Ni said that he did not think Modis would feel that way. A few hours later, a woman was attacked in the city. The next day, while Ni was on his way to school, he passed by the crime scene. He and Kraken met again, so they talked for a while. While they were talking about the crime, Kraken mentioned that he was wondering if it was a disaster that did it. He was thinking why the victim's body was left behind because the disaster would not usually do it. When Ni arrived at school, their class president, named Shin, immediately greeted him. She asked for the reflection essay that Miss Lu told him to do. But because of what happened yesterday, he forgot to work on it. This was his excuse, but Shin did not believe him. She pulled Ni to take him to their teacher, but they met Modi's on their way. She handed Shin the reflection essay that she and Ni had written. After Shin left them, she immediately asked Ni if he had followed her warning. When he confirmed it, she immediately thought that she and Ni could be friends. After that, she pulled Ni out of school. They went to the city because Modi's had wanted to go for a walk with a friend for a long time. She took advantage of this opportunity to do everything she wanted. But just a few minutes later, they suddenly heard the disaster alert. Because of this, Modi's immediately changed her suit to prepare to fight the enemy. Ni volunteered to check the situation outside, while Modi's guided the civilians to safety. When he entered an alley, it was here that he saw the disaster, which was also a Skoru. He quickly ran away from it until he tripped and fell down. As the Skoru was about to attack him, someone suddenly attacked the enemy, and it was a blade named Sudo. But just a few moments later, someone shot Sudo from behind, and it was done by a saber named Haku. She hesitated to fire again, so Ni quickly helped Sudo to get out of there. When they were able to hide, Sudo immediately healed herself. But Haku quickly tracked them down, and she told Ni that Sudo was an evil blade. Sudo suddenly laughed at what she said, and this was when she started attacking Haku. The two of them fought, while Ni was wondering why the two were doing this. Haku mentioned that Sudo killed the other sabers, so she wanted to avenge them. They exchanged attacks again, until Sudo used the winding blood, so Haku also used the sacred trial to counter her attack with the strength of their attacks. It caused great damage to the city. Sudo knew that Haku would not be able to use her eye again soon, so she became complacent. It was here that Haku took the opportunity to aim at Sudo with her weapon. As she was about to kill her, Ni stopped her. In her anger, she told him that he should not interfere because she was just an NPC. Since Ni did not know what this meant, Sudo said that she was a non-player character, which means that she was a character here and not a player like the two of them. When Haku tried to stop Sudo, it was here that she had the opportunity to attack and take Ni as hostage. But suddenly, Modi's came there and immediately attacked Sudo. Haku stopped her from interfering in their fight, and while the two of them were arguing, Sudo took the opportunity to use the winding blood. Because of this, their lives had been put in jeopardy. Sudo laughed that a player and an NPC became friends. So Ni also asked Modi's because he could not understand what Sudo was saying. It was here that Sudo told the truth about the world that they were in. She said that this world was just fake, or in other words, they were just inside an online game. Then she showed the incident a few years ago, after a disaster destroyed the entire city. It was quickly restored like nothing happened. The NPCs thought that it was normal, but they were programmed to think that everything was fine. She added that everything they see in this world was due to a supercomputer called GAIA. That even the time was also controlled by this supercomputer. While the players who wanted to enter this world could choose as a saber or blade, and their mission was to fight the disasters to protect this world. But Sudo was against this online game, so Haku immediately realized that this was the reason why she was attacking NPCs and other players. Suddenly, Cass came there to try to save Ni, but she was quickly knocked down and was repeatedly attacked by Sudo. In Ni's anger, it was here that he released his power, causing him to get away and punch Sudo. Then he picked up her weapon and threw it at her. Even though it was easy for Sudo to dodge it, she did not expect it to come back, causing her to be stabbed by the weapon. Because of this, she completely disappeared, and her blade status was transferred to Ni. Haku quickly healed Cass, and after she told Ni not to tell others what happened, she also logged out. Little did they know that the two masked men were just watching them. Ni brought Cass to their house, and Modi's also went with them. When they arrived there, Ni asked Modi's how to remove the blade suit that he was wearing. Modi's immediately taught him, and apart from changing the suit, he learned other things from her. When he took off his blade suit, he also lost his cover, so Modi's hit him after what she saw. The Night Wolf, which was a group that the GAIA used for monitoring, sensed that there was corrupt data within the game. After Ni got dressed, Modis told him that he was her first and only friend, so she did not want to lose him. Then she also talked about an accident that she experienced 10 years ago. Since then, she no longer had a normal life. Until Vincent showed her the game that they were in, and because of this, she could move freely in it. She also mentioned the missions that she had to finish. One of them was to defeat the disaster that they fought before, but she was not able to complete it because Nui was the one defeated it. After their conversation, Nui begged Modis to change Cass' clothes. After Modis did it, she looked around Nui's room. When she saw the photo of his grandmother and his mother, he suddenly remembered something. The Night Wolf was currently attacking Nui because they were looking for the corrupt data and a threat to GAIA. When they were about to start the data reset, one of them noticed that he was a player. So when Modis came out, they apologized because they did not know that Nui was a player. Vincent suddenly called Modis to tell her to log out because her uncle was back. Because of this, she was forced to log out because his uncle might find out what she was doing. The masked woman who was one of the watchers earlier suddenly threw a smoke screen, and after she attacked a night wolf, she quickly took Nui. The night wolf tried to stop her, but her colleague, named Angie, was also there to stop them. When Nui woke up, he was in a room with a child and the masked woman who took him. They introduced themselves as members of the Crow, and that the boy in front of Nui was the leader. After the masked woman left, the leader told Nui that he had nothing to worry about because they were on the same side. In the ongoing battle between the Night Wolves and Angie, the other Night Wolf was also defeated. But it turned out that the ones they defeated were just clones, and the one controlling them, named Viros, started to take the fight seriously that Angie could not do anything against him. Because of the noise, Cass woke up. When Viros attacked Angie again, he heard her screamed. Viros thought of just erasing Cass in that world, but he gave her a chance to live. And in return, he forced her to swallow the small creature which was also like a disaster. After she swallowed it, she lost consciousness again. As the talk between Nui and the leader of the Crow continued, he introduced himself as Zenun. Nui found out that he was also an NPC like him. He said that his duty was to show the players their ability, and that he was like an instructor. He added that although everything that they could see in this world was just an illusion, it cannot be denied that they were created in this world, and this only means that they were needed there. He believed that Nui was the key, or what they call the gear of last hope, who would change this world. That's why he wanted to make an alliance with him. Because everything was so sudden for Nui, he could not decide on Zenshun's offer yet, so he was given time to think. Then Zenshun also inserted something into his body that gave him the feeling of energy flowing through his entire body. After he returned to his house, Viros had already restored the things that had been damaged there. He went to Cass, and when she regained consciousness, she immediately hugged him. She was still very scared of what she had seen earlier, but she was surprised when she saw the living room that had no damage, including the window. Then he told her that she might just had a bad dream, so Cass was very grateful for thinking that it was all just a dream. Nui had no idea that Viros was watching him through Cass. When Modis faced his uncle, she mentioned to him that some memories were coming back to her. It is about a child and his mother. Then she heard the child's mother and call his father in the name Yurito. His uncle suddenly got angry after hearing this, and forbade her not to mention the things that happened 10 years ago. A few minutes later, she tried to ask Vincent if he knew anything about Yurito. Although Vincent was worried that he might get into trouble if he talked about it, he still decided to tell Modis what he knew. He revealed that Yurito was the main developer of GAIA. But after what happened to GAIA 10 years ago, he suddenly disappeared. Modis thought about the incident that happened during these times that made her almost unable to remember the looks of her parents. She felt that she was always alone and only felt sadness. Vincent thought that maybe his uncle did not want to talk about what happened because he did not want her to be sad, but she did not believe it. She wanted to know everything that happened that day, so she begged Vincent to help her. Other than this, she also wanted to know its connection to the game. She suspected that Nui might be the key to solve the mysteries of GAIA. The next day, as Nui was on his way to school, he noticed something strange on the screen. When they passed by the exact place that was shown to him by Sudo, he remembered again what she had told him. That's why he still could not accept that they were just in an online game. When he came down the bus, he and Hoki met, and he informed him that Miss Lu was furious because he was absent the other day. But he did not seem to care about it anymore, so Hoki wondered what was wrong with Nui. When they were near the school, he saw that Modi's was already waiting for him, so he let Hoki go first. Modi's asked what the night wolves did to him after she logged out. Naya said that many things happened the other night, and he did not even know where to start. Then they suddenly heard a disaster alert, so they immediately went to its location. They arrived at the location and saw the disaster that appeared right there. It was an explosive witch with a high level. When it noticed them, it immediately attacked, but Kraken came to block it. Kraken took his weapon and attacked it with his bone-shattering slash. Cass thought that Ni might be at the location of the disaster, so she immediately headed there. When Kraken's blade suit caught fire, Vincent came to extinguish the fire with his crystal arrow storm. Cass got there, and the disaster struck them again. Because of this, the school's photon barrier had also been damaged. Meanwhile, Viros could not wait to see Ni's true abilities. As the disaster was approaching the school, Kraken attacked to stop it. But it still did not affect the disaster, who immediately retaliated against him. It was here that Ni decided to help Modi's fight the disaster. When he got close to the disaster, he was surprised because he could not get his weapon. When the disaster attacked, Modi's tried to stop it, but her weapon was only damaged, causing her to be hit by the enemy's attack. When Modi's got up, she immediately approached Nui, and when the disaster attacked again, Kraken rushed to block it. After a while, Haku came there and aimed on the disaster's head. But when the captain of the Saber arrived, he forbade Haku to interfere in the battle because the explosive witch was a difficult opponent, and the blades were the first to attack that they would not be able to get any items or XP. When Vincent noticed that the disaster would attack again, he quickly created an ice shield, but their enemy quickly broke it. At that moment, Cass began to think about the possibility that Ni would die there. She was able to release a strong energy that she was not aware of, and this caused Viros to panic. Since the disaster would try to approach the school again, Modi's instructed Vincent to stop it. After a while, Cass lost control of her power, causing Viros to lose his control over the thing that he put in her too. Ni suddenly got up, and when Cass saw that he seemed fine, she calmed down and immediately lost consciousness. Viros could not believe that Cass was possessing such power. Meanwhile, Shun was also ready to transfer his power to Nui, so Nui was able to force and pull out his weapon. Because of what Shun did, Viros tracked down their hideout. Nui used the crescent cut to attack the disaster, which caused the fire to grow bigger, so Vincent quickly blocked it before it could get close to the students. Ni used the winding blood, and when he carried out his last attack, it was here that his classmates and Miss Lu recognized him. After he absorbed the disaster, the appearance of his blade suit and weapon also changed. But a few moments after he got off, he rushed at Modi's. Suddenly, the member of the Crow came there to stop him, but he also managed to remove her mask, and it turned out to be Chin Nu. Chin Nu explained that she was assigned by Shun to help Ni in case he lost control of his power. And since the whole school already knew her secret, she could not go back as their class president. So she did not stay there any longer and immediately left. When Viros went to the Crow's hideout, he faced Angie again. But just like their last confrontation, Angie still could not do anything against his strength. As soon as Viros defeated him, he took him to Zenshin's room. Using his power, he forced Zenshin to release its power. It was not long when Zenshin's physical form had changed. It was here that Viros found out that Shun had transferred all his powers to Nui. For this reason, the famous powerful Shun could no longer win against Viros' strength. Shun even managed to get out of Viros' power, but when he attacked Viros, he was easily knocked down. Meanwhile, Ni and his companions were heading to Vincent's office because they want to confirm something. While they were on the trip, Nui learned about the Temna Corporation, which was owned by Modi's family, who also created GAIA and the world they live in, called the World of Super Sandbox. This corporation would also have a press conference. When they arrived at Vincent's office, Vincent showed Ni a photo of him and his mother, which Ni said that it was taken by his father. But when he was asked about his father's name, he could not remember it. He tried to remember the past, but he failed until he collapsed and passed out. When he woke up, Vincent told him that they could not find any information about his father, so it was possible that someone tampered with his data. When Modi's asked him if the name Gurito was familiar to him, his head hurt again. Vincent said that Nui's identity was full of mystery because he could do things that the normal players could not do. And if the night wolf found out about it, he would surely be erased from this world. He asked Neu if he knew any other NPC like him, so he mentioned Zenun. When Shin went to their hideout, she immediately found out that there was a battle occurred in the place. She quickly went to Zenun, but she only saw Angie lying there. Nui also mentioned what Zenun had told him, that he was the gear of last hope. Based on the other information mentioned by Nui, they could see that Zenun was a bug, but surely he knew something about what was really happening in this world. They were planning to go there, but Nui did not know the exact location of Zenun's hideout. When Nui got home, he was surprised that Shin was there. That was when he found out that Viros kidnapped Zenun. Shin had a hunch that Viros was already looking for the other members of the Crow, and there was a high possibility that he was also spying on him. She was sure that Viros would test his ability, so Shin told Neu to be careful. The next day, when he entered school, Cass was very happy to see him. But after a while, Viros appeared to them. He attacked them, so Nui immediately blocked it to protect Cass. Because of this, Cass got angry, so she released her power again that could destroy those around her. After what she did, Viros found out what Cass's ability could do. After Viros fixed the floor, he also left because he just wanted to check Nui's condition. When they entered their room, they were surprised to be greeted by their classmates. They were now amazed of Nui because aside from knowing that he was a blade, he also protected them yesterday. Nui noticed Hoki and was just sitting in his chair. When he tried to talk to his friend, he noticed that Hoki was not interested to talk to him. So after their class, he tried to talk to Hoki again, and he found out the reason why his friend was so upset, and it was because he hid his blade status on Hoki. In order not to make him upset, Nui promised to tell him everything about how he became a blade, and this made Hoki happy. But before he said the details to his friend, they went to Vincent's office, but the press conference was not yet over in reality. Just a few moments later, a dog suddenly approached Nui. This dog's name was Xiaohan and its owner was Ramcha, who was trying to stop his pet. When Xiaohan calmed down, Ramcha invited them to have coffee at the newly opened coffee shop. Since the shop had a promotion that time, Hoki immediately accepted her invitation. So while they were waiting for their order, Nui also told everything to Hoki and the fact that they were just in an online game. But Nui did not expect that Hoki was not surprised at all. So Hoki said that even though they were just characters in that world, the fact that they were alive was still a nice thing. After Ramcha had served their coffee, Hoki noticed that Ramcha had been staring at Nui. Because of this, Nui remembered the warning to him that he should always be careful because he was a threat to the reality. So he thought that Ramcha might be a player, and that there were other players around him in the coffee shop. After a while, Ramcha's colleague, named Hakuren, approached them to greet them and asked if they enjoyed what they had ordered. He also offered if they were interested in working there because he and Ramcha were the only ones assisting the needs of the customers. Cass suddenly saw them, so she also entered the coffee shop. And Ramcha immediately hugged her because she was so cute. After a while, they heard the disaster alert again. It appeared right in front of the coffee shop. It was a pendulum and according to Hakuren it had no eyes, so it just relied on what it could hear. That was the moment when they transformed, so they found out that Hakuren's group was actually sabers. While they were fighting the pendulum, Nui noticed that they were using a sound bomb. He told them Cass and Hoki to get in the coffee shop, then he changed into his blade suit. He used his sword weapon and immediately attacked the pendulum. As they continued to attack the pendulum, the enemy decided to avoid the attacks and hide underground. They also followed it immediately and found its eggs there. Ramcha decided to look for the pendulum and the two were left there. When they heard a sound, Hakuren turned on the light to check the eggs, and they found out that the other egg had hatched. Because of this, they blew them up and they went up quickly. But they did not know that there were new holes which had been made by these creatures. Cass screamed when she saw them, so the creatures immediately ran to her location. When Nui noticed this, he immediately approached his friends to stop the little pendulums. Then they saw Vincent's secretary, named Momoka, who was also being attacked by pendulums in the other building. Nui could not if he would go to her too because if he did, he would have to leave Cass and Hoki behind. When Hoki saw the stairs going up to the second floor, he told Nui to save Momoka, and they would be going up to the second floor. After that, he immediately went to Momoka to save her. He fought the small pendulums to get Momoka out of there. After a while, the small pendulums had entered the coffee shop. When one attacked Cass, Ramcha was able to shoot it. Then she and Xiaohan worked together to attack the other small pendulums. As Ni and Momoka exited the building, a large pendulum suddenly appeared. Because of so much fear, Momoka suddenly screamed, causing the pendulum to hear them. In Cass's desire to help Nui, she decided to use the sound bomb, so Xiaohan quickly pushed Ramcha away. As soon as Cass threw the sound bomb, the pendulum also targeted them. After what happened, Ni fell to his knees because he was so disappointed of himself that he was not able to protect Cass and Hoki. After a while, Hakuren's robot also came. When he attacked the pendulum with it, the enemy was not affected by it. He was about to counter it, but a fire suddenly came out which was created by Nui. Since he absorbed the explosive witch the other day, he was able to use its power. He could use so much power that the pendulum could do nothing. Then Ni suddenly heard Cass's voice, and when he turned around, he saw them being rescued by Chin Nu. After a while, Hakuren once again offered Ni to work in his coffee shop. But Ni rejected it because he wanted to focus only on his studies as a student. When they left there, Hakuren sent out Haku, who was his younger sister, and had been watching them for a while. It turned out that their captain gave them a mission to watch out for Nui. But Haku was worried about Nui, because by the time the developers found out about him, he would surely be deleted from the game. Tenma Corporation's press conference about the world of Super Sandbox was currently being held. There was a reporter who was trying to find a loophole to show to everyone that this game was dangerous. But Modi's uncle could still find a good answer to whatever question she threw. Until she also revealed that Modi's was playing in the world of Super Sandbox that Modi's uncle did not know. But still he came up with an answer and told everyone that Modi's was an advertising ambassador. It was only natural for her to play the game. Then Modi's uncle said a lot of nice things about the game, causing the other reporters to be amazed. When they got home, Modi's uncle was very angry because of what he found out earlier. He knew that it was very dangerous for her niece to enter the game. Vincent admitted that he was the one who motivated Modi's to enter the game. Because of this, Modi's uncle wanted to remove him from his job, but Modi's begged his uncle not to do it. That was the moment when Modi said her true feelings about her current situation. So his uncle agreed to let her continue play the game, but once she felt something was not good, she sold immediately log out. On the other hand, Nui begged Shinnu to train him. He knew that the Crow members went through an intense training, that's why they were strong. Other than this, he did not want what happened earlier to repeat, that he could not do anything to save Cass and Hoki. This was not a problem for Chinnu, so they started right away. Cass came there with food for Nui, and just a few minutes later, Modi's and Kaiken also came. They invited Nui to go to the beach, so Cass and Chinnu also decided to join them. Meanwhile, in reality, Vincent was just keeping an eye on Modi's while a nurse was examining her. He did not know that this nurse was Mount Sudo who was planning bad to Modi's. The next day when they went to the beach, they found out that Hoki had also come with them. Hakuren's group was also there to continue their surveillance on Nui. After some time and while Nui and Modi's were talking, he noticed a woman who seemed familiar to him. When Modi's looked at the woman he was referring to, it suddenly disappeared. They decided to enjoy the water, and after a few moments, Nui remembered that the woman he saw earlier was the same person he had seen before on the big screen. He saw this woman swimming under the water, so he tried to chase her, but she once again disappeared. Meanwhile, as Cass and Chino were sunbathing and talking, Angie suddenly called Chin-Nu. When she answered it, the call cut off, so he called him, but she could not contact him. It turned out that Viros had already found the other members of the Crow, and was trying to find her location. After Chin-Nu answered the call, Viros found out that she was currently at the beach, so he released a disaster in that place. When Nui and Modi's heard the disaster alert, they immediately saw the disaster, which was a kraken, and it followed the fast craft. In this situation, they immediately changed into their blade suits and went to the fast craft. They tried to get there as fast as they could, and when they arrived, they got on board quickly. When Kaiken saw the kraken, he immediately looked for a jet ski to go to Modi's, and Cass went with him. Nui attacked and he used the winding blood, but it did not work on the kraken. Kaiken and Cass arrived there after a few moments. Nui and Kaiken tried to attack the kraken, but its cover was so thick. Because of this, Nui decided to use the power of the explosive witch. He managed to sink it, but the disaster suddenly released missiles. Nui quickly used the winding blood to protect themselves from this attack. But one missile went through the barrier, causing him and Modis to fall to the water. He helped Modis escape from the kraken, but he was captured by the enemy. When Cass saw the problem, she quickly jumped to save him. Nui dreamed of the woman he saw earlier, and she introduced herself as Gaia. It turned out that she had been wanting to talk to him for a long time, because she wanted him to save his mother who had not yet been awakened in the reality. He did not quite understand what Gaia had said, but she was running out of time. Cass was so worried about Nui, so she brought out her true form as she looked like a disaster. With just one attack on the kraken, she immediately defeated it. But she lost consciousness. Fortunately, Nui awoken, so he immediately saved her. Nui did not see what happened, so he wondered how the kraken was defeated. When they got home, he immediately talked to Vincent to tell him what the woman had said in his dream. In reality, Sudo inserted an SD card into Modi's headset which caused her to lose consciousness. Her real body was immediately taken to the hospital, and his uncle also found out about it. Whenever they touched the headset, it reacted and caused pain on Modis. When Vincent looked at Modis' console, they found out that it was disconnected. For this reason, Vincent decided to log out to see what was happening in reality. He immediately went to Modis' uncle to inform him about his niece's condition in the game. It did not take long for the doctor to discover the counterfeit device which was placed in Modis' headset. Her uncle wanted to remove it immediately, but according to the doctor, there would be a problem if they do it, and possibly caused harm to Modis. After hearing this, Modis' uncle decided to do the other way he thought to save her. Meanwhile in Viros's laboratory, he was currently taking the abilities that Zenun had. He successfully got it all after he absorbed them. Then he immediately thought of looking for Nui to test these abilities and showed how strong he was. Modis' uncle went to Gyurito's laboratory, and it turned out that he was working on a way to save Modis. Modis' uncle wanted Gaia to be reset, but Gyurito did not agree because they would not be able to bring Hera back once they do it. Sudo, who was also Gyurito's daughter, came there. It turned out that she also served as Gyurito's assistant. It was here that she informed them that she was the one responsible for Modis' current situation. She added that she also pretended to be a reporter at the press conference. Modis' uncle got mad and was about to slap her, but Gyurito got ahead of him. That was the moment when Sudo told Gyurito that she did all those things because she did not want him to suffer anymore in protecting Gaia. While Nui was watching over Modis, Gaia appeared to him. She made Nui touch Modis. After that, he went to the amusement park and saw Modis there too. When Vincent investigated what happened 10 years ago, he found out who were the victims of this tragedy. From his research, he was surprised to see that Nui was actually among the victims. When Nui and Modis saw the young Modis, they learned that they had gone to the past. They also found out that they knew each other when they were children. Nui suddenly heard Gaia's voice saying that what they were seeing were their memories that they had forgotten. A few moments later, a woman saw Gaia hiding from the bushes. While the children were all looking for a clover leaf, it was Hera who went to where she was hiding. In her shock, she ran away, and only stopped when Modis' father found a clover leaf. While she was watching them, she suddenly cried out that caused the change in the surroundings. Gyurito immediately logged out to check the system situation. When Hera hugged Gaia, she stopped crying because she recognized her as her mother. Nui ran to approach his mother, but Gaia got mad and this caused her to be imprisoned with her. Then she attacked Nui. While Gyurito was trying to fix the system, he immediately told everyone to log out. Modis' mother logged out first and Modis followed. But when Modis' father was about to try to save Nui and Hera, he also gradually disappeared. Things gone wrong and the facility started collapsing, so Modis' mother sacrificed herself to protect her daughter. And because of this, the capsule where Nui was placed was covered by debris. After that, Nui and Modis woke up, and this made their companions very happy. While they were celebrating, Shin felt the presence of Viros. They saw him outside, so Nui immediately prepared to fight him. On the other hand, the nurse called Modis' uncle to inform him that Modis had regained consciousness. But she also returned immediately within the game, and Sudo wondered how it happened. Kraken also called Vincent to inform him about Modis' condition and about Viros. Shin came out and she immediately attacked Viros, but he easily defeated her. Then he attacked Nui, and the two of them fought. Ni used the power of the explosive witch, but it did not work on Viros. When Viros retaliated, he caught Nui, so Cass decided to go out and save him. Modis was able to stop her, and when Kraken came out, he and Modis rushed to attack Viros together. But Viros also noticed them immediately, so he trapped them using the ability that he got from Zenun. When Viros attacked Nui, Cass blocked it to save her friend. Then she transformed into her disaster form, and while she was parrying Viros' attack, she also healed the damages that Nui suffered. It was here when Viros realized that Cass was purposely created for the mission of protecting Nui, and this was also the reason why she was always with him wherever he goes. As soon as Nui got better, Cass also disappeared. The fight between Nui and Viros continued, then Nui used the power of the explosive witch again to free Modis and Kraken. But it also caused great damage to Gaia, and Hera's prison appeared to them. Nui suddenly went to a dimension, and Gaia appeared to him. She showed him where Hera was imprisoned, and she begged him to save Hera because she could not do anything in this world. She admitted that did those things before because she wanted Hera as her mother, but now, she wanted her to return to the reality. She also apologized for attempting to take Nui's mother away from him. When she disappeared, Nui realized where he was. After a while, Hoki's toy suddenly rang, and he was surprised to see Nui in it. He helped him to get out, but Viros also came out of it. When Viros attacked them, Kraken immediately retaliated. Although he hit the enemy, he did not expect that Viros would give a quick attack too. It turned out that he was starting to create clones from his body parts. Nui rushed at the enemy to give Modis a chance to get away with Kraken. Suddenly, Modis' uncle called to tell them to log out because the system was having problems. But she did not follow it because she did not want to leave Nui in the game. Vincent talked to Modis' uncle because he wanted to see Yurito and said that he had something important to say to him. When they were in his laboratory, Vincent informed Yurito that Hera had appeared again in the game. It was necessary to regain his control of Gaia to give Nui time to save Hera. Viros was able to destroy Nui's weapon, so Chindu also attacked the enemy. Using Kiken's weapon, Nui sliced into half Viros' clones, but they regenerated quickly. They only increase in number every time Nui attacked them. When Nui was about to save his mother, Viros managed to lock him up. As they continued to fix Gaia, Mount Sudo also helped them. While they were fighting the clones, Vincent also came there. When the clones escaped from Vincent's attack, Xiaohan was there to exterminate them. The Saber members were also there to help them. While Nui was still locked up, Modis took the opportunity to approach Hera. When Nui was freed, Viros managed to break his weapon, but Viros did not expect that Nui would still use it to target his core. After this, Modis easily broke Hera's prison, while Viros and his clones also disappeared. They successfully saved both Hera and the entire world of Super Sandbox, so Cass was also able to return to them. This is the end of the last episode of the world of Super Sandbox being the reality. I hope you like it and give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss new uploaded videos. Thank you for watching.